Hello everyone, some old man. This is Sunday, I think June 13th. I'm back out in the garden doing a little bit of work, tightening up my ham radio HF antenna, as you can see. After I put the corner point up on the mast, it loosened everything up so that it was really saggy, at least on this leg, and of course on the other leg too. So by going ahead and taking up some of the slack, which I was able to do because I had about 10 feet of paracord there, actually making it reach my connection point, I was able to take up a good 6 feet, and that made it so that instead of sagging down, it is almost, well, it's not straight because I don't want to put that much tension on it, but it is certainly a lot straighter than it was, and because of that, it's a little bit higher all the way across, probably anywhere from 4 to 6 feet higher along this length of the antenna. With that and all the extra height that the antenna mast has put in, hopefully it'll make my reception and my signal going out a whole lot better. We'll try that at some point here on the antenna or on the radio. I've got to go ahead and go and look at the scheduled nets and see what I can pick up. But that's the first thing I was doing today. I thought I'd go ahead and take some pictures while I was doing it, but I still have a lot of other projects I'm working on. It's kind of a free-for-all day today. So I'm going to just kind of go through and work on things, and when I find one that looks like it's a interesting thing to film, I'm going to go ahead and record it. This probably won't go up until my Tuesday edition, since I've already posted one last night for today, but you'll see it when it does go up. As some old man, I'll be turning you over to the next thing. Another one of my little chores that I'm doing today is working on the ground rod that is going to be tied to this mast. I don't think that there's going to be any discharge from the antenna itself because it is fairly well isolated up there, but if we had a lightning strike or something and this mast for some reason attracted the lightning, by having a ground attached to it, it would be fairly well safe. It wouldn't actually go ahead and cause any fires or anything by itself. Now the lightning, on the other hand, could, who knows, bring all sorts of things. Now as you see, this is an 8-foot ground rod. I think I've got it to where now it's only about 3.5 foot up out of the ground, so I've been kind of working at this every so often. And this is the post hole driver, which makes it a little easier to drive it, at least for the first little bit, as opposed to just using a sledge. Now I've got about 1 foot or maybe 1.5 foot that I can still drive it with this thing, and then I'm going to have to go ahead and drag out the sledge and bang it in the rest of the way. After I've got it in, what I will do is I've got a clamp and a copper wire that I will go ahead, clamp it to the ground rod, attach it up the side of the fence, and bolt it into the actual, well, the fitting here, so that it would hold this very well. And it would, if there's any electricity gets into the pole, it'll just take it out and put it into the ground. I've got 2 other ground rods installed on my ham radio gear. One at the far corner of the house where the antenna base is, and one at the pass-through, or under the pass-through, through the window where all the wires go into the house. So I'm fairly confident that there's nothing that's going to come from outside is going to get inside and bring in an electrical discharge. So I'm going to go ahead and bang away at this a little bit and see if I can get down to where this is flush with the ground so that I can at least get that chore done. And then I'll have to go out and get a sledgehammer to finish the rest of it. I'll probably do that over the next week, because it is a little bit tedious. that's that. That will give you a workout, that's for sure. The rest of it, I'm going to just have to get a hammer and bang on it to get it to go down. But that's okay, because truthfully, if you live in a house or an apartment building or whatever, there is one of these associated with your electrical system. Electrical code for the United States says there has to be ground rod, at least one. And the bigger the facility, the more you're going to have. Really, having 3 for what I'm doing is excessive, but better safe than sorry. Well, that's pretty much all I've got on this job. I've got other tasks to do, so I'll be going over and doing them next. Got to put this back in the shed because it's past the point now that I can get anything out of it. So I'm going to turn you over to let you see what I do next. Some old man. Still at it. Right now I'm rotating the gasoline, which I do on at least on 1 can a month from the garage. Well, I'm not working out of the garage this time. I'm working out of my backup gas can in the truck, which I like to rotate twice a year, usually in June and December. And it's time. So I got to climb up in the back of the truck and get into that can and start pumping gas. I'll take you along for just a little bit so you can see. Always like to have my little step on the end. I had it dismounted for a while because I was hauling loads, but that's past now. And away we go. This little pump takes about 5 minutes to empty about half to 2/3 of the can, depending on how far it has to lift it. Since it's from the bed now into the tank, it'll go faster than if it was down here on the ground. And once it gets down to a certain point, the pump won't suck it on, especially on some of those newer tanks that have the restrictors built in on the modern tanks or on the modern gas cans. This is an older gas can, so it doesn't have that restriction. But it gets to the point that the pump won't reach the gas in the bottom, so I just have to go ahead and pour the rest of it by hand, which is a real pain. But I can lift 2 gallons of gasoline a lot easier than I can lift 5, so I'll live with that when it gets to that point. After I finish this chore and maybe a couple other little things that I have to do inside, I'm thinking I'm going to go ahead and take a trip down to Lowe's, my home away from home. I've got to go ahead and get some materials for another project in the backyard here later in the week, probably next weekend, but I want to have the stuff ahead of time so that I can spend the weekend doing the project. This is the stairway over there in the area behind the shed. But that's a project for next week. I just want to get ready to do the project. Now, when I'm out running around, I also need to go ahead and top off the gas tank. I'm down to about a little under a quarter tank, which is why I'm taking this opportunity to dump the extra gas in. I'll go to the gas station, top the tank off, and top off this can, so I'll have backup gas in case, everything I break down or I have to help somebody. But that's my method, or the method of my madness, you might say. So I'll just keep pumping this away, and when it's all down to a certain point, I'll go ahead and pour the rest by hand. Got a little visitor over there on my steps, just happened to notice, wandered by. We got a number of squirrels and other wildlife that live in the area. They don't seem to bother me much, except for I think that one of them likes to knock peaches off my peach tree, but we can live with that. You might be wondering why I'm not using the regular spout that comes with the gas can. My experience has been that those things leak, as well as the fact that if you slip a little bit while holding the heavy gas can up, they will break if you put any pressure on them. Whereas this thing here, it's flexible to start with. And yes, I can spill a little bit like I just did here now, but it's only because of my own klutziness. It's not because the thing inherently leaks. And I can replace this. This is my second one, and I've got a third one sitting in the garage for when this one wears out. So it's not that big of a deal. So I'm just going to throw this here in the back of the truck. I'm not even going to lock it down since there's nothing for anybody to steal except the old can, which is probably about 10 years old. And then when I get a chance, I'll just stop at the gas station and fill both the truck and the gas can up. Right now, looking at the gauge as I was just before I turned off the pump, the gauge is showing at about half a tank. So I'm not in a real hurry to get it filled up, but I want to go ahead and get that spare tank filled so that I have it when I'm driving. Not that I drive anywhere anymore, but when I do. Well, let me go ahead and secure everything. I've got a particular arrangement here for making sure that everything is secured. I have a bungee cord that kind of holds everything that's loose down. The tank, the gas can is not one of those things because it's got its own strap system that locks in. So that's pretty much it for this. I have to go and get the next chore done. One of the things I'll be doing this afternoon, not right away, but later on when it cools off a little bit maybe, is mowing the lawn again, because it's that time of year, and with all the rain we've been getting, it's growing like crazy. Some old man. funny thing about the warm weather we've been having, for some reason, my new camera doesn't like it. It stopped recording in the middle of my activities, and when I checked it to turn it off because I was going to move the camera where it was sitting, it said, oh, it's dead. And when I tried to restart the filming, it said, oh, the camera's overheated. You have to wait for it to cool off. So that put the kibosh on what I was filming. Now it is June 14th on Monday, and I pick up where I left off, skipping a few things, but I'll show you what I'm doing, and we'll get this potpourri all out for you. Some old man. Tell you what, moving all that brick and such around definitely gets you some exercise. I get out of breath for it a little bit. I'll be hopefully going ahead and working on the stairs for the new area this weekend. I happen to have a 3-day weekend, so I'll have plenty of time to work on that. The only thing that will stop me is if it decides to rain, and it might, just because the weather being what it is at the most unusual times. I do have one more load that I got to pull out of the back of the truck. I've got seven more of those pavers that I just unloaded, but I'll get them sometime. I have a couple other little chores, and then we'll be wrapping this one up and putting it together so that I can put it on the net so you can all watch it. Some old man. Hello again, everybody. Today is June 15th, Tuesday. One day after I was mowing the lawn and doing all the rest of those things, stacking bricks. And I wanted to go ahead and bring this video to a conclusion because I just noticed that it's getting a little bit long. After I finished working and doing other things, I did spend some time putting some new shelving units together, and I wanted to go ahead and point those out to you. I've restacked my cleaning supplies here instead of scattered through various cabinets. This is part of my preps, so I will talk about them in another video sometime in the future. But right now I just wanted to go ahead and bring this one video to conclusion, a little potpourri of all the things that I've been doing this last weekend. So I want to get this up on the web today so that everyone can see it. Go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe if you're not already, and hit the bell icon so you'll get notifications for new videos when they go up. This is Some Old Man signing off.